start with Don Couchman. Go ahead and stand on up, Don.
Be careful what you say. It might become your nickname.
Baller.
This is my 4th mission trip, and aside from the first time I attended when my children were with my husband and I, this trip was the most, and this is why I got my nickname, the most incredible trip I've been on, one of the most incredible experiences of my life. And I know many people say, well, you can serve here, Dawn. Why do you go to Mexico? Well, I can serve here in the comfort of my home or the comfort of my church, but when you go out of your comfort zone, that's when you grow. And so we went on this trip, and for 3 years, it's pretty much the same schedule. I know what to expect. This trip, I was constantly told, oh, no, we're not going to do that this year. We're doing something different. It's like, ooh, now I'm out of my comfort zone. So then I find out a week before the trip that we're going to go to the local chapel on Wednesday night. That took me way out of my comfort zone, and I was feeling anxious about it. And no, I can handle this myself. I did not pray, I confess. And what God taught me through this whole experience, just the ride to the chapel was like being on the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland. Then we get to the chapel, and it's worship, and the 73-year-old worship pastor was jumping with joy, and we had the youth doing the conga line around the church, and we had my husband, Brad, and Jason Biter in front of the church leading everyone in a dance. It was the Rock and Worship Roadshow on steroids. So then we're filled with this joy, this enthusiasm, and then it hits. The pastor calls it, well, I'm going to leave what happened between these two things to the girls who shared, but the pastor calls us up to the front of the church, and he calls the congregation to come up and pray for us. And we had one member of the congregation for each of us, and anyone in the congregation that wasn't attached to us put their arms on the person praying. And I am not kidding, it was at least 3 or 4 minutes. They prayed straight. So I had a young girl holding both of my hands, so I couldn't wipe my tears on my nose. She was holding my hands and just praying straight through, and I don't speak Spanish. So I thought, what do I do? So I prayed back for her. And in that moment, I realized there are no national borders. There are no cultural boundaries. There are no socioeconomic boundaries. There's just brothers and sisters in Christ. And it was one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had. So we thank you, Jason, for taking us out to ice cream after that, because we really needed something. We were so emotionally drained. We had ice cream. The next morning, I literally, when my alarm woke up, I woke up weeping tears of joy, because that was one of the most joyous things I've ever been through. After we wake up in the morning, we have some quiet worship time by ourselves, and one of the phrases that we looked up in the Bible, it's like, God is so good. It was John 15, I'm shaking. John 15:27. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. And God's just teaching me, Dawn, stop being so anxious, stop being so scared, just go do it. I put this out for you. I have things to give you, and his gifts are so good. That's it.
And as a reminder to the team, when one person's talking, make eye contact with me so I can give you the second mic so we can roll. All right, go for it.
Hi. So I'm going to talk about our church service on Wednesday night. And everyone got to go to different churches except one group, 2 went to one church. So at our church that morning, our pastor comes out to our site and is like, how many of you guys are like on your worship teams and stuff? How many play instruments? And we happen to have almost a full like worship band with Brandon on ukulele and Aaron on guitar and Jeff on drums and then a couple singers. And so we get there and we're like, what are we doing? What are we singing? No idea. It was the very definition of what this trip is about, of rolling with it. It was the service. So we get up there, and the worship leader of the church there is actually the man we're building a house for. And he comes up and he starts playing his guitar and starts singing a couple words to This Is Amazing Grace in English. And it's like, do you know this one? And we're like, yeah, we know this one. And so then we got to sing 3 songs with them, and each first verse was sung in all Spanish. And then the second verse was sung in English. And then on the chorus, we came together, and it was English and Spanish singing in perfect unison of this, like the same words but in different languages. And it was awesome. And then we went through our whole service, and at the very end, the Mexican-Spanish worship team goes up and they sing, "How Great Is Our God." And then, since everyone knows the words to "How Great Is Our God," we're standing in the, seats of the church, singing in English, and they're singing in Spanish. And it was really a powerful moment, because this is how great our God is. We're singing the same song in two languages, glorifying God. It was amazing. Hi, I'm Megan. Hello?
They're working on it.
Okay. Hi, my name is Megan, and this was, I believe, my 5th trip down to Mexico. And the thing with this trip is I totally went in just open-minded, and whatever happens, happen. This is going to be God's trip. Let what happens, happens. And every night in chapel, they have a different speaker from Yugo, whether it's one of their pastors or their foremans. They have a different speaker for the topic that night. And I think it was either the first or the second night, one of their pastors, Nathan, gave an amazing sermon, and one of the things that he said really struck me, and I know it struck a lot of the other people as well, when he brought up the story of Moses and the Israelites in Deuteronomy 1:3, when they had been around this mountain for 14 years, just literally walking in circles, and that mountain had held them there for so long. And one of the things that he made point of his sermon that night was he had said, "You've been around that mountain too long." And I think that was just something that a lot of us needed to hear, because on this trip we saw a lot of people that whatever had been holding them back, whatever had been stopping them from moving forward in their faith or trusting more, whatever had been holding them to their mountain, you saw so many of those people just set it free this week and live through Christ and just love endlessly. And our team became so much closer. And I thought it was amazing how just those simple words like, "You've been around that mountain too long," set so many people free. And I just thought that was really cool to see how many people that truly touched.
Good word.
Hi, I'm Noah. This is my...
Hi, Noah.
Hi, Nick. This is my 4th year going, and on Thursday every week is the week where, or the day, not the week, it's the day where we kind of have the, if you want to commit your life to Jesus, it's that day. It's a very, very powerful sermon in the chapel and everything like that. And when we were singing, the speaker, Nathan, walked over to the side and said, if anyone needs prayer for anything, come talk to me. And so the song started, and right when it started, I almost started shaking. It was almost as if I was getting stage fright. And as I was singing, and I think I saw Amanda go up, and I was like, okay. And then Matt went up, and then without even knowing, I was halfway up walking up to Nathan. And I walked with Nathan, I was talking to him, he prayed over me. And when I went back to my seat and I was just looking out through all these people who were singing, I realized that God's light was shining through all of these people. God's love and God's mercy. It wasn't coming from, it's just singing this song. It was like, I'm feeling through the song. It was shining through each and every single one of these people. And it brought me to tears. I couldn't sing. I was taken away. And when we left the chapel and it was all over, I sat down. I was just so emotionally drained. I was like, in all of my life, I've grown up in the church, in all of my life, I've never felt anything that powerful ever. It was just this overwhelming feeling of how much God loves us, and it was shining through each and every one of these people who are sitting up on the stage before you. And it was one of the greatest feelings I have ever felt in my entire life. So that's why I saw God this week.
Nice. Noah was our resident DJ, so every van that Noah was in was like rocking and shaking, and the hands go up, and they stay there, and they start up, down. Sorry, get excited.
Hi, my name is Emily. How I saw God this week versus other trips that I've been on, our house was on top of this giant hill, and it was a huge trek up there for the family every week, and they were there diligently every single day, watching us, hanging out with us, fed us lunch the last day, and the dad was missing the whole time. And so we were kind of looking around he's probably at work, and it didn't hit us until Tuesday night we found out that he was actually at work until about 6:30, would go home to the house that he was staying at, eat dinner with his family, walk, 45 minutes or so up this huge hill to the house, and then stay at the house to watch all of the stuff that was still there. So it's a half house with the ladders and the hammers and everything, and he would stay there on the drywall using 4x4s as a pillow. And we got the opportunity to go and get him like a little care package and a pillow and a sleeping bag, but just seeing how dedicated he was to his family, how much he loved us, how much he wanted to protect what we had there for his family was huge. And I haven't had the opportunity to connect with a father like that before in Mexico, and just seeing how much he loved his family and how much he wanted to do for us, even he hadn't even met us yet. And so that was just an awesome experience, and able to see God use him to lead his family in any way that he could.
Yeah. That same gentleman, we were talking at church, that dad, and he was thanking us for the house, and I was on that house as well, and I told him, thank you so much for the house, for my family, and I said, I know that you would do the same thing for me, and his eyes filled with tears, like exactament, and so it was just a touching moment. It's just good man's. Go ahead,
Hi,
Amanda.
I'm Amanda. This was my 5th trip to Mexico. And if I'm going to be completely honest, before I left for Mexico, I was talking with a friend, and I was like, not quite sure how I'm going to do this year because I just feel tired, and I haven't even left yet. And so it was just in my mind where I'm like, it's just kind of a fact at this point that God is going to use me or move because I got nothing. And it was actually really good going into this trip at that point because I feel like I just opened my heart to have God move. And one way that I saw God move this week was in chapel. I went to the same chapel Don went, or the same church on Wednesday that Don went to. And it was so incredibly fun. We ran around the room with believers that we had never met before, and praised him and jumped. And I saw a lot of different ways. I feel like I saw a lot of different ways to worship this week, and leading worship every week or so. I feel like I got kind of going through the motions of, yes, I'm worshiping, but this is just kind of how. And going to that church and seeing girls play the tambourine and dance and run around the room and sitting on the floor, scraping away the extra paint and whatever is left on the concrete floor, and just singing worship songs. I feel like God really renewed my spirit to worship him, and to not just have it be on Sundays where we're singing all together, but you can praise him anytime. And so I was really thankful for that this year.
Amen.
Hi, my name is Caitlin. So on Friday, which is the day when most of us go to the beach, a couple people from last year's house said, hey, why don't we go visit the family and see if they're home? So we went there. Turned out they weren't home. And so Eric had a letter in his backpack. So Katie wrote a nice little note to them in Spanish and in English. And then we drove off, went to the beach, and then later that night we were playing ping pong. Then all of a sudden a car drives up to the Yugo, and it turns out it was our mom. It was our family from last year who came and said they got the note. And luckily there was a translator right there, and apparently they arrived at their house a couple minutes after we left. And so she wanted to make sure that she got to see us again. And we got around the camp and got as many people as we could from last year's, and we took a bunch of pictures, we talked, and it was just really heartwarming to see him again.
Yeah, good.
Hi, I'm Casey. This is my 4th year, and I always tell my friends and family that, yeah, I'm going to Mexico this year. What are you doing? I'm building a house, we're going to go get some tacos, go to the beach. No big deal, right? But this year, through some people here who had never gone before, who had no idea what was going to be happening, and then even talking with some people from some other church, it's, no, you're not just building a house, going to have some fun with, your church family, going to the beach and tacos and all that. You are building a house. Like, just think about that for a second. Who do you know who would come to a different country or even across town to build you a house, to love on you, to play with your children, to try to speak in your language and create a better life for you? It's not something small. It's not something we should think, it's no big deal. I mean, it'd be awesome if that was an everyday thing, but it really is. It's a huge thing. And this year I realized suddenly how big of an impact we can make. We change the lives of the family. We can break a cycle of poverty. And with that family, now that they are in that situation, in that community, they now have the power to do the same. That one seed that we've planted there can ripple out into the entire community and just continue to grow and grow and grow. And I had never thought of it like that before. I just thought, I have this one task to accomplish, and I'm there, and okay, it's good. And I had never understood the human aspect of it. And this year, this group, the group from Valley Springs, who was the church that was with us, they opened my eyes to that. And I can't believe I had never seen what God was doing in the people that were there.
One of the phrases that we kept hearing when we dedicated the houses was, "This is the day a house becomes a home," and we hand it over. And the thing in my mind along with that is, while we're building these houses, we're building the body of Christ at the same time. So much construction was occurring. So.
Hi, my name is Edna, and this is my third year going. And I almost didn't make it here this morning. I was in the AARP van, where we care, is what we decided. And I had a little bit of a rough time coming home because of my back. It was hurting. I don't know why. So this morning when I woke up, I told my kids, I'm not going to church today. I just can't make it. I sat down and I said my prayers, and I said, if you want me to be there, I'll be there. Here I am. We got here a little bit late, but here I am. And as I'm sitting here, I looked at Nick, and I had said in my prayers, if you want us to be there and share, then that's what we will do. And I'm looking at Nick, and I'm doing this, and I thought, I don't have anything to share. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And it's been in my heart, and I think I shared it with him and a couple of people, that we were in the special ops house, and this was quite an adventure for all of us this year. We bonded in different ways. But when I was out there, I felt something was missing, and that is because my family from last year, Mari, called me about 2 or 3 months after we came back from Mexico last year. And I had just started a new job. So I'm like, hello? Who? Oh, hi. Yes, I'm at work. Oh, okay. Well, I really can't talk. And I hung up, and I thought, I'll call her back later. And when I tried calling her back, I didn't have the Mexico area code. I didn't know this. So I couldn't communicate back with her. And it's been weighing heavily in my heart that I was rude, according to me, because I didn't take the time to speak with her, and then I couldn't communicate back. So I really wanted to get back over there, and I talked to Dawn about it, and I really wanted to go back. We had plans of buying them things. We ended up not buying anything because the little girl's birthday had been the day before. So we wanted to go celebrate. We get up there, and they're not home. And we're all asking about the family, and they're all asking me, can we hug them? Can we do this? Because only the 2 kids were home. And I'm like, no, we really shouldn't. We can't do this. We can't do that. We're asking about the dog who happened to die. We built a home for him last year. And so we're all trying to struggle. So we finally all decided, let's go visit Mari. We know where she works. And so we all got back in the van, and we started driving over there. And we're all like, okay, we're going to interrupt her work. I hope it's okay. And maybe she'll recognize us. I said, I don't even remember what she looks like very much anymore. I hope she remembers us. We walk in as a group, and there's a cashier checking people out, and she's doing this. She looks up, and all of a sudden it goes from to the biggest smile, and we all smiled and said, oh, my God, she recognized us. She got so excited that she almost gave back the change that she had in her hand for the customer back to him, which could have cost her her job. And she's like, what am I doing? So she takes the money, puts it in. She's ringing the other customer. She can't wait to get to us. As soon as they were done, she came back and gave us the biggest hugs and was so excited to see us. Turns out I didn't make a mistake. She turned off her phone and had a new number. And that made me feel so good. So this time, Facebook. Thank God for Facebook. We've got her on Facebook. But that for me was, God has been showing me this entire time, all through this morning, that it's not my plan, it's His way. And it was amazing. I feel good. Let me tell you, my pain was not there after I said my prayer. And I thank Him for it.
Praise God. Thank you, Edna.
Good morning. My name is Jeff, and I was on the house with Caitlin and Katie, and there's a part of both of those stories I don't even know if they know, but as far as seeing God at work in just the little things, because a lot of times it's that coincidence. We think, oh, what a coincidence, but it's God's handiwork. When we were at the church, we're getting ready to sing, and we're going through the songs, and the worship leaders, you know this one? Yeah, we know this one. You know this one? Yeah, we know this one. You know this one? Yeah, we know this one. Well, two of our singers, there was one of the songs they did not know. They're like, I don't know the words to that song. How are we going to sing that song? Aaron opens his guitar case, and what's the one sheet of music that happens to be in his guitar case? Is the words to the one song that those singers didn't know. That's God at work. When the family came to Yugo, we were trying to talk a little bit, and someone said, hey, do you need someone to translate? Sure, that'd be great. She's doing a wonderful job. I step over here, happens to be a gentleman, and he comes up to me, and he was so proud because it was his wife who was translating, and I was talking with him a little bit, and he was actually recording her translate because it was the first time she had ever translated for anybody. And I think I was the only one who was in on that conversation, but God is at work in those little coincidences where He puts someone in the right spot at the right time with the right heart to serve. And I just wanted to say the biggest thing that I learned on this trip is that there are incredible people in this church. Young people, old people, youth, young adults. And you don't have to go to Mexico to get to know who they are. I happened to be at Mexico when I got to know who they are. But we have this area right out here where the adults and the youth can mix. And I think we need to really make it a culture here to get to know everybody, because that's what makes us a whole body.
Hi, everybody. My name is Resleen. Can everybody hear me? If I stutter, I don't know. I'm really bad at public speaking. So this was my first time serving. I come from a different religion, a different background. I had no idea what to expect. My best friend, Alexis Macedo, told one of my other best friends about this trip, and I told my mom, like, okay, Mom, I'm going to Mexico. That's how it happened. So I was nervous leading up to it, and I get here, and I didn't know if I was going to fit in. But everybody became like a family. I built so many relationships that I never thought I would be able to. I became a part of a family that I wasn't expecting to. I not only built a house, I built a home with amazing, amazing team members. Every night, every day, we'd wake up, somebody would always ask, hey, how are you doing? How was your day? I want to hear all about it. It was so weird. I was like, what? All right. It was such a humbling experience that there are no words to describe it. And I just want to say to everybody that was on this mission trip, to everybody who prayed out there for us, I love each and every one of you, even though I didn't speak to everybody. Thank you for showing me what love is. Thank you for always being so kind and generous to everybody. You guys are amazing. And that's it.
Thank you. We had, before Michelle closes us out here, we had several people not from our church join us. If you are someone that doesn't regularly attend our church, put your hand up for me real quick. All right? These were the brave souls, along with several that aren't here today, that joined us and said, okay, we'll go. You can put your hands down now. And said, we'll join this random group of people going down to Mexico. And I've spoken with each of them, and I think I speak for them well when I say they became our family pretty quick. And we are theirs, and they are ours, and I hope to see them all back. And it's just this neat thing that happens when we go. So thank you guys for being brave, and to the rest of the team, good job. It's what we do. So, Michelle, go ahead and close this out here.
So the God sighting that we had this week, and it wasn't just mine, it was others too in my house. We went to the church on Wednesday. We did take an Indiana Jones ride to get there, so that was valid. And what they didn't tell you so far is that they asked us, besides the band, we had the worship team, which was amazing to see them up there. We had people stand up and give out their testimonies. They had asked for people to volunteer. So we had 2 of our youth prepare testimonies that they got up there, they read, and they were translated. And then we had an impromptu. They wanted an adult. So Connie got up and gave her testimony. And then while she was doing that, another one of our youth, Justin, he's like, I need to give mine. And so he got up and he gave his. So we had the 4 testimonies. The pastor preached like you would not believe. But the family that we had was a young couple, and they had a little son. And he was not even 2. His name was David. And I was talking to the mom, I was explaining that's the middle name of my dad and my son, and everybody I know is David. And the little boy was born with like 30% of his brain is not working on the right side, which makes his left side not work. And he was given all kinds of life expectancy, and it didn't happen. And I'm not like the big feeling person, but of course this is the house that I get put on, is the one with the kid that, you know. And so when we were at the church, first of all, he was told he can never walk, and he walks. They also said that he only has very minimal use of his arm, but he does attempt to use it. But when we were at church and we were closing out, all you could see, we all saw that little David was, his grandfather is the pastor. He is walking up the stairs, climbing up the stairs, holding a little Bible. And it's just like to be told that this kid's never going to do anything. So this is the family that we built the house for. The mom is an engineer, but she can't work. She has to stay home with the baby. And she bakes these amazing cakes, which we shared with both Hugo. She made 2 of them. But to see the little baby just crawl up there to be with his grandfather to continue to worship, we know he's going to walk. We know that he's going to grow and there's not going to be any issues. And Nick hates this, but I got to do this. You guys don't know. Like, he thanked people for helping him. This guy, I don't know how he's still standing right now. The amount of peopling that you have to do while you're there, it's nonstop for him. Everybody's like, Nick. He doesn't stop, like, from morning till night. Even I'm like, oh, God, I have to ask Nick. I don't want to bother him, but I will. And then we're like, did you eat? Do you have a pen? Do you need this? What do you need? Like, we want to help him. But this man is amazing. The way he speaks to kids, the things that he says to calm people down, he doesn't even know he's doing it. And he puts this together, and we just kind of do the little things that need to be done so that he doesn't have to worry about it. But if it wasn't for him, for the relationships that he has built over time, thanks to meeting his wife, just everything that he's done for us, he's the one that also deserves a round of applause. And this trip was outstanding.
Michelle, always the rule breaker. So, these people have stories, and we've already gone a couple minutes over, and I don't apologize for that. I just want you to know that I recognize it. And I'm going to invite now the band to come back up. We're going to do a closing song like we always do, but I encourage you, church family, to grab a gray-shirted person, maybe one you don't know, and say, hey, Nick gave me this challenge, and I know it's awkward, but we've been encouraged to step out of our comfort zone. Tell me a story. Tell me a God sighting. And if they get awkward and can't tell you one, say, that's okay. Tell me something funny. But at least ask someone up here, because they all have stories. They were all there for a week, and it was an amazing week where God happened, because God is good all the time. And all the time, God is good. So